There's an ancient story where a guy came to a spiritual master and he asked him, is there a way to deal with people who are constantly draining me out? Like every time I spend time with them, I feel exhausted. And the master smiled. He knew what he's talking about. And he said to him, can you get me this jar of water there? And he brought it to him, and he said to him, now fill it up with water. So the guy went to the water, he filled it up, brought it to the master, and then the master said to him, now turn it for few degrees to the side so the water starts leaving the jar. And he did that, and he noticed how water is now spilling out until just a little of water was left in the jar. And now the master asked the guy, how does it feel when you see that there's only little water left in the jar? And he said, well, it feels like a misuse, like a waste of water. And the master said to him, exactly. That's what's happening to you when you're wasting your precious energy with people who don't give you nothing back. You're spilling yourself out carelessly without getting anything in return. It's happening to many of us when we're spending way too much time in wrong environments or with wrong people. We forget about boundaries. We forget about the preciousness of our life force. They call it the chi, right? The prana, the life force. I want to give you 6 ways to protect your energy, to protect your sacred life force, so you will not feel so drained out. You will actually start to feel more creative. You will start to feel like you have control over how are you feeling. Not all the time, but most of the time. You don't have control over what's happening to you, but you have control how much time you spend with certain people, how much time you spend at certain environments, and how you treat energy vampires. You have control over what you do with your life, how you invest this prana. Are you just spilling it out, or are you actually investing it into something that gives you returns? This is very important to know, especially nowadays where all the boundaries are kind of blurred. Like on social media, there's no boundaries when you're online and offline. When something, sends you a message, you're there. When someone calls you, you're there. When someone messages you, you're there. There's no boundaries. So I've recognized in my life, especially when my social media's account started growing, I've recognized, well, I need to set boundaries with it, because otherwise you're there all the time. And if you're there all the time, you're not with you all the time. You're putting yourself out there while you're exhausting yourself. So as much as we are investing ourselves into something outside of us, eventually we also need to invest ourselves back inside of us and recharge the jar. We are all vessels here. But so many times people are walking outside completely drained out because they don't take time to fill their jars once again. So the first reminder for anyone who feels like you are constantly exhausted, who feel like you are constantly drained out because maybe of toxic people, because of toxic habits, because of spending way too much time at environments that are draining you, maybe because of your job, because of your family members, whatever it is, there's so much you can do. The first reminder is boundaries. Know about boundaries. And boundaries can be applied in many different situations. Sometimes it's like how much time we spend with other people. Sometimes it is how much time we spend on our phones. Sometimes it is how much time we dedicate to something. We need to set boundaries to show other people how available we are to them. You can't be always available to others because that's how you exhaust yourself. You also can't always be available to others through your phone, on your social media. You can't be always available to others. You need to set boundaries with your phone. Like, have moments in a day when you are offline, when you can shut off your phone and be with yourself and maybe read a book or meditate or work out or whatever it is. I used to go into the gym with my phone and headphones. But then I've noticed every time I have my phone with me, there's a notification, there's an email or something, and again I'm plugged into it. So now I'm going into the gym without my phone and it feels so much better because it's a time when I'm disconnected from everything else. It's a me time. When I wake up, I don't go on my phone. Like, I have first 2 hours in a day without a phone. I start my day and I check in with myself. I make sure that through the night when I'm recharging my phone, I also have moments in a day when I'm recharging myself. So morning meditation, morning journaling, morning studying, it's me time, it's my mental time, my emotional time, my spiritual time. That's how we set boundaries. We don't need to be available all the time. Even if you have kids or family members who always need something from you, you can still set boundaries with them and let them know, look, at these certain specific moments, I'm not available. It's not a selfish thing, it's a self-love thing. And once we understand that, we notice that how we are investing our energy is in our power. Then when you're at public places, sometimes they may drain you out. And you just need to know that, well, if you've drained yourself out, you also need to fill yourself up once again, right? So what is filling you up? Recognize what is filling up your energy. You need to have some grounding practices. This is the second tool that will help you to protect your energy. Now, it's not so much about protecting, it's about filling your energy up. It's about filling your energy up. So having grounding practices, like spending some time in nature, going barefoot a little bit, going into the forest. People now call it forest bath, where you go into the forest and you surround yourself with trees and plants and birds and other animals and mosquitoes. And you enjoy in nature, right? This is how you ground yourself. Leave your phone at home and go into the nature. There's many other ways to ground yourself. Sometimes we can't be surrounded with nature. Sometimes we may be traveling, or you may be living in the city. You can do a meditation. You see, when you're visualizing something, your body believes it's happening right now. So you can use a visualization practice where you're actually imagining that you're walking through the forest, that you're close to a river, that you are hugging a tree or riding a horse or anything like that. And your body will start grounding. Your body will start recharging, and you will start to feel more and more rejuvenated. There's a very powerful practice. If you've ever tried standing under a waterfall, it's a very powerful thing. It's like being under the shower, but waterfall is more powerful because it's a river, right? It's a fluid stream of life force in water. This is alive water. Native Americans called rivers the veins of Mother Gaia. So when you stand under a waterfall, it feels like it is charging you up, it is cleansing you energetically and physically. So if you can't go under a waterfall, visualize yourself being under a waterfall for 5 to 10 minutes, and you will see, you will cleanse yourself from all the negative energy. You will cleanse yourself from anything that is not serving you at this moment. This is a very powerful grounding practice. Then the third tool is to strengthen your torus field, strengthen your aura. In ancient times, they said each human being has a light field around them. They called it aura. It's your energy field. And stronger it is, wider it goes. In HeartMate Institute, they found out that when you elevate positive emotions, your heart starts projecting an energy field up to 10 meters wide. And they said it's the limit of how much their devices can measure it. So I believe it goes into infinite directions because we're all connected. So the way to strengthen your aura is to practice gratitude, to practice elevating emotions, to practice heart-brain coherence. There's many different ways to practice it. But I think the most powerful one is when you learn to calm your body down firstly. So you disconnect from your 5 senses, you close your eyes, you play some beautiful music without just a melody. You stop moving your body, you stop touching things, you don't eat anything, so you stop tasting, whatever. And you find yourself in your inner world. And you focus on slow breathing. And as you're breathing slowly and deeply, your brain will start calming down, your nervous system will start calming down, and then you focus on your heart. And as you focus on your heart, what starts happening, you kind of open up your heart. And then you focus your attention to something that reminds you of gratitude, to something that reminds you of happiness, to something that reminds you of blissful experiences, like memories that reminds you of beautiful moments. And suddenly you will feel grateful, suddenly you will feel peaceful, suddenly you will feel safe, suddenly you will feel connected. You will be maybe proud of something, you will be happy for something. And as you're staying in this state, your torus field will start expanding, because now you're not projecting your energy out, now you're receiving more of your energy, because you're not in survival anymore. Now you're starting to thrive. And this is a very powerful practice where you start strengthening your aura. You can also use some sound healing, like sound baths are a very powerful one, like any kind of sound healing. You can use some sacred wood for, burn it a little bit, and you can use it for cleansing your energy field. Very powerful practices. In ancient times, like Native Americans used all these different techniques to cleanse their energies. They all had shamans and mystics to see their energy fields, so they could tell what works and what doesn't work. And that's why we still have present these certain tools that work. Grounding is powerful, cleansing your energy field, very powerful. Sound healing, very powerful. That's why shamans were often using different instruments made out of natural material for producing sounds to cleanse the energy systems. Very, very powerful. Then practice energy cleansing, as I mentioned. This is the 4th tool for protecting yourself from negative energies, but also strengthening your energy. So I've mentioned sound healing, I've mentioned sacred wood, Palo Santo, right? I've mentioned water, river, river bathing, forests bathing, right? But there's also visualization. You see, light is life. First there was a word, and word became sound, and sound became light, right? So many times our light body becomes distorted because our minds are filled with toxic thoughts, with poisonous thoughts, with poisonous belief systems. And our behaviors are programmed with toxic habits. It's all poison for our system. We're poisoning ourselves, and then food is poisoned with toxins, with all the artificial stuff that doesn't belong onto our plates, right? So we need to cleanse our energy. You will notice that when you start eating better, when you start letting go of certain way of thinking and certain belief systems, you will not be so affected by certain negative people anymore. You will start to understand them, and once you understand them, you can forgive them. Once you forgive them, you're not affected by them anymore. Now you just observe them and you wish them well. You wish them health. This is a very deep process we're all on right now. But it is reminding us that we all need to take care of ourselves first. You need to save yourself first, so then you can be an example of a healthy human being. So when you're surrounded with negative people, firstly stop judging them. That's how you cleanse your energy. That's how you cleanse your mind. Stop judging them. We've all been, at least where I'm from, we've all been surrounded with people who are judging one another. It's a product of living in survival and hoping to be in a better position, but because you're not there, you rather judge them, because that's how we've been used to cope with all this negativity and suppression. So I found out that the healthiest thing I did in my life was to separate myself from this kind of people for a certain period of time. So I've learned to understand them better. Go out of an environment where you're surrounded with only negative people, and you will notice that you will stop judging so much more. Go on to a process of healing. Like, I had about 2 years in my life where I just felt the best when I was in solitude, and I've noticed it was my time for healing and for reflection, introspection, and learning. When I came back and I've started hanging more with other people, with my family members, and I've started meeting new people, I've noticed I'm not so affected by them anymore, because I've stopped judging them. I've started understanding them, and I've started forgiving anyone that did maybe something negative to me. I've started forgiving them because I was able to understand why they've done what they've done. That's how you practice energy cleansing. If you understand that it's a process of years sometimes to do the work, you accept it as a part of the process. You accept it as a part of your evolution, and it's completely okay to do something like that. So remind yourself that you need to be responsible for your energy. You need to be responsible for how you feel. Talking with someone who can help you to resolve certain issues is very helpful as well. So take time to do these things. Then the fifth practice, to limit your exposure to negative energies so you can protect yourself from negative energies, is to notice energy vampires. Notice energy vampires in your life. They may be in your family tree. They may be around you. They may be your parents maybe. They may be your so-called friends. They may be your co-workers or even your boss. Notice them and learn to set boundaries with them. Some individuals drain your energy through negativity, neediness, or manipulation. So recognize when someone tries to manipulate you. Recognize when someone attaches onto you. You wanted to help them and they attach onto you. They are too needy. And in my life, experiences with needy people were like you give them an opportunity, so they open up to you, and then you can't shake them off, right? You just can't stop them talking. So you need to learn to set boundary, and when you start to feel like you're draining yourself out, you need to set boundary. This is something that's much easier than it sounds many times. When you notice that you're draining yourself out, set a boundary. Like, say to yourself, oh, thank you so much for sharing, but now I have to go, or something like that. Depends what it is. If it's at your job, well, consider to change your job. Consider to see if you can do something about it. Maybe to change a position, to, I don't know, move onto another office, or I don't know what are the possibilities for you, but look, maybe you don't even like your job, and if you would start thinking about finding a greater job, you don't know what kind of opportunities will open up to you. Set an intention and visualize a little bit what kind of life you want to live, like what kind of job you want to have, what kind of people you want to be surrounded with, because you will be surprised in the next few years. That will happen. So believe in yourself and protect yourself. And the last tool I want to give you to protect yourself from negative energies is self-care. So we've been talking a lot about grounding and sound healing and strengthening your torus field, your aura. But self-care is also taking care of our routines in a day. Taking care of our morning routine, before bed routine, taking care of ourselves when we have certain desires that are like, you want to take yourself onto a date, you want to read a book, you want to go to travel a little bit, you want to take a vacation or things like that. This is self-care. Or take care of your body. Take yourself into a spa, into a sauna, or a massage, or a workout, or certain new practice, something that you would really like to try, and you are saying to yourself, I don't have time. That's when you're pouring the water out of the jar and you're becoming empty, right? So see yourself as a jar. And notice that every time you're taking care of yourself, every time when you're doing something that feels joyful to you, that brings happiness to you, your prana is rising. You're feeling more and more alive. When you're doing something that makes you feel alive, you're pouring water into that jar. When you're doing something that is exhausting you, like spending way too much time with negative people, being at places you don't want to be, it's draining you. It's not that you shouldn't be there. It's not that you shouldn't do these things. Sometimes we just need to deal with all kinds of different people, and it's okay. Like, how else can we teach them? How else can we solve problems than being there and solving them? But the point is that we become aware that we also need to save ourselves. We also need to take care of ourselves. We shouldn't forget about our priorities. We shouldn't forget about our life force. You see, when I do what I love, I start to feel more alive. That's why I'm painting. That's why I'm sharing this kind of messages with you, because I love doing that. When I'm doing that, I feel more alive. So I've noticed in my life that this is what fills me up. After I finish like this kind of recording, I will feel more alive. And then I can do many other things. But also recognize that many times we're draining our energy because we're looking on the world too conditional. Like you say, I'm happy when there's a good weather and I'm sad when there's a bad weather. What ancients taught us is to become unconditional, to always find happiness in what is being presented to you. This is a very great wisdom. Like, whatever is being presented to you, find a value in it. Notice why it is special. Like, a rainy day is a good day for the nature, and a sunny day is a good day to maybe spend time under the sun. A toxic person shows you that maybe you deserve more, or shows you that maybe you have something that could help them, and it can turn you deeper into your passions, through which you could actually solve problems for these people. And a lack of money can sometimes introduce you into consideration of changing a job that will pay you better, or starting a business that will pay you better. And a few years later, you can look at these moments as the best moments of your life, something that happened to me. So we need to start looking at things more unconditionally and recognize that every moment is a divine moment. And if it's divine, it means it was meant to be. And if it was meant to be, it means there's a reason we are where we are at that particular time. So if there's a reason, you need to see it. And when you see it, you know what is the purpose behind it. And that is a powerful wisdom that life will taught you. So my friends, I hope you found great value in today's message. Protect yourself from negative energy and recharge yourself. This is it for today. I'm sending you all lots of love, blessings, and power. Thanks to everyone for choosing to support my art in our store, AttractPassion.com. You're very appreciated. Thank you so much. And also thanks to everyone for joining our Patreon community for more exclusive content. The link is in the description of this video. Thank you so much, and till next time, one love.